Number 10. Reshma Begum was buried alive in an earthquake and was found 17 days later. In 2013, a big earthquake hit Dhaka in Bangladesh. Thousands of people were buried under the debris. Most of them died. Reshma Begum was one of the lucky ones who was alive after she was buried. She lived underground for a whopping 17 days, surviving only on dried food and water. Rescuers found her body after they heard banging among the ruins. Number 9. Matthew Allen roamed the Australian outback for more than 2 months before being rescued. The Australian outback is one of the harshest places on Earth. Add this to the brutal heatwave Aussies faced in 2012. In these conditions, Matthew Allen got lost in the outback. He roamed the harsh landscape for 9 weeks, surviving on just water from creeks. He was found by hikers in a malnourished state, where he had lost almost half of his body mass in the 9 weeks of the ordeal. Number 8. Harrison Okene lived in an air bubble underwater for 3 days without food or water. A small tugboat capsized and all except one of the crew died due to drowning. But Harrison found a pocket of air in one of the rooms in the boat. He kept on piling the mattresses under him so that he could breathe the air that was rapidly depleting. He was rescued by a salvage crew that only went into the wreck to retrieve the dead bodies. Harrison survived without water and food in complete darkness for 3 days. Number 7. Jose Salvador Alvarenga floated 13 months on the Pacific Ocean. Jose Salvador spent 13 months on a life raft, drifting through the Pacific Ocean. He ate fish, turtles, and drank rainwater and urine. He even drank bird blood to quench his thirst before he was finally rescued. He drifted nearly 10,000 kilometers in those 13 months. Number 6. Julianne Koepke fell 3 kilometers in a plane and survived 10 days in a harsh rainforest in Peru. A plane carrying 92 passengers went out of control and started on a downward spin over Peru. The plane fell from the height of almost 3 kilometers. Julianne Koepke was the sole survivor who sat in her seat strapped and lived to tell the tale. But her ordeal was not over yet. She had to survive the harsh rainforest for 10 days before finding help and successfully making it out alive. Number 5. Mauro Prosperi survived 9 days in the Sahara Desert by drinking bat blood and eating snakes. There are marathon races when people run over 42 kilometers. Then there are super marathons when people attempt to run more than 200 kilometers in the desert. Mauro was one such runner, and while running, he lost his way in a sandstorm. He was lost in the middle of the Sahara Desert for 9 days. He ate bats and snakes and drank his own pee before he was rescued by wandering nomads. In those 9 days, he lost 18 kilos of weight. Number 4. Truman Duncan was cut in half by a train and survived for 45 minutes before help arrived. Truman Duncan came under a train and was literally cut in half. He lost both of his kidneys and had to wait for 45 minutes before the emergency medical experts arrived on scene. He underwent 23 surgeries and survived. Number 3. Roy Sullivan survived 7 lightning strikes in his lifetime. From 1942 to 1977, Roy was struck by lightning a record 7 times. He survived all of them. The most serious injury he got from these strikes was an injured ankle and chest burns. Otherwise, he lived to tell the tale all 7 times. Number 2. Anatoly Bergosky got hit by a supercharged proton beam from a particle accelerator. Particle accelerators are a miraculous piece of engineering. Protons are accelerated to the speed of light. They carry massive amounts of energy when they are accelerated to those speeds. Bergosky was a scientist who worked in the largest particle accelerator in Russia. During a routine maintenance job, he was hit by one such accelerated proton beam that entered through his nose and came out through the back of his head. It ideally should have killed him on the spot, but he survived, albeit with side effects like seizures and headaches and fatigue. Number 1. Andes plane crash survivors ate human meat to survive 72 days in sub-zero temperatures. In 1972, a plane carrying the Uruguay rugby players crashed in the Andes. 12 people died in the crash, and the survivors braced against minus 30 degrees Celsius temperatures and scarce food supplies. They even resorted to eating the meat of their dead team members to survive. After spending 72 miserable days in the harsh snow, 2 of the survivors decided to trek through the mountains and get help. 16 people survived as a result.